Shadows over Hawthorne, Episode 2, Whispers Beneath the Surface. Previously in Shadows over Hawthorne, Detective Elliot Graves uncovered a brutal murder in Old Greaves Wood, a body marked by ritualistic carvings and holding a red silk scrap, echoing his fiancée's death years before. Warnings from locals and the discovery of strange symbols hinted at something far older and darker lurking beneath the town. The morning after, the rain fell heavier as Elliot stood at the edge of Old Greaves Wood, the forest as lifeless as the grave it hid. The memory of last night's shadow lingered in his mind, a figure watching, unseen but felt. He tightened his coat and turned back toward town, determination driving him. Whatever darkness hid in these woods, he would find it. The constabulary files. Inside the dim constabulary, Elliot combed through a decade of unsolved murders. Each victim shared the same fate: ritualistic carvings, a small personal token, lockets, buttons, ribbons left in their hands. No suspects, no witnesses. Patterns, Elliot muttered, pinching his temples. The room felt heavier suddenly. He turned, certain someone was watching him, but found only flickering shadows. The Historical Society. At the Hawthorne Historical Society, Abigail Thatcher awaited him with an old map spread across her cluttered desk. "These markings you found," she said, tracing spirals Elliot had sketched, "are rites. The Order of the Black Veil, a sect exiled centuries ago. They believed death could lift the veil between worlds through blood. Rituals. Here in Hawthorne?" Elliot frowned. Abigail nodded gravely. The chapel ruins were theirs, but someone, or something, has disturbed them. She tapped the map. "Go deeper into the woods. There's a well forgotten even by time." Return to the woods. That night, lantern in hand, Elliot trudged back to Old Greaves Wood. The forest resisted him, the mud sucking at his boots, the wind whispering like disjointed voices. The chapel ruins loomed ahead. The symbols had spread, spiraling across the stones as though alive. At the center of the altar, something new glinted, a dagger, rusted and ancient, stabbed into the stone. Draped across its hilt was a red silk ribbon, fresh and blood-stained. A sound broke the silence, a low humming, soft and chilling. Elliot swung the lantern sharply, his revolver drawn. "Who's there?" The humming stopped. In the darkness beyond the trees, a figure stood, a shadow barely visible in the mist. Before Elliot could move, it turned and vanished. The well following Abigail's map, Elliot pressed deeper into the woods. He found it, a forgotten well, its stone mouth jagged and overgrown. The lantern's glow revealed bones at the bottom, half buried in dirt. Elliot climbed down, his boots scraping against the stones. Among the remains, a dagger lay embedded in a rib cage. Another red silk ribbon was tied neatly around its hilt. The humming returned. Elliot froze. He looked up, and there it was, the same figure, silhouetted against the moonlight, watching him. "Who are you?" Elliot called, voice echoing. The figure turned silently and disappeared, leaving the forest colder and emptier than before. The blood-stained letter. Back at his flat, Elliot spread the ribbons, dagger, and notes across his desk. The symbols etched into stone burned in his mind. Was someone continuing the Order's rituals? A soft knock startled him. Elliot rose, revolver in hand, and swung the door open. No one. But there on the threshold lay a folded note, tied with another red silk ribbon. He opened it with trembling hands. "Detective Graves, you're pulling at threads that should remain untouched. Stop, or the shadows will claim you." A droplet of blood stained the corner of the page. The shadows watch. As dawn broke over Hawthorne, Elliot sat in silence, cigarette smoke curling around him. The case had changed. The killer wasn't just leaving clues. They were watching him, leaving marks at his doorstep. The humming still echoed in his ears, and the red silk ribbon seemed to pulse faintly in his hand. Outside his window, faint streaks of blood marred the glass, like the print of a hand that had pressed against it from the dark. The whispers beneath the surface had begun, and the shadows were moving closer.